everybody, my name is Kiara, aka Kiara's Bookshelf, and welcome to my channel. I am so excited to film this week's reading vlog because I am going to be tackling my end of the year TBR in this video. So a couple of weeks ago, I filmed my 10 before the end, and I included these books, and I decided now would be the perfect time to challenge myself to finish them. So in this video, I will be reading Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood, The Woods Are Always Watching by Stephanie Perkins, Shadow Wars: The Secret Wars by Sherilyn Kenyon, and last but not least, I will be reading the Fairyman trilogy by Claire McFall. Now, I'm really excited to read these books because of the mixture in genre. I feel like that will really keep me from being bored. So with that, let's get on with the vlog. And if any of you guys have any of these books on your end of the year TBR, or any books at all on your end of the year TBR, please let me know because I love talking to you guys. So I just reached chapter 8 of this story and I really like the main character B. I never considered like science romances or STEM-based romances before, but like I definitely think I'm gonna have to buy the rest of her books because they're so fun. I do not work in STEM, but I like the fact that there's like STEM-based, I guess, plot in this with her like working literally at NASA, but it's not like too much and it's not confusing. So like I just said, B works at NASA and she is a part of a neuroscience program, and right now she is going to be working on one of their biggest, most expensive projects ever. But what's crazy to me is that on her first day, she ends up like making a huge scene and completely embarrasses herself in front of everybody, including her boss and like some other people that are going to be in the program. And this guy named Levi actually ends up saving her. She like sees a cat and she tries to go and save it, and in turn like ends up falling and almost knocking a bunch of stuff over. The cat ends up being completely fine. So her boss's name is Levi, and right away when you like jump into the story, Levi does not like her. And as I was reading this, I was literally getting so frustrated because she gets there and she doesn't have the right key card to get into everything, so she has no access. Everybody has to help her in. She doesn't have her work laptop, so she goes to Levi. He says that he put in a ticket for everything, and as I was reading this, I was thinking, oh my gosh, is this guy sabotaging her? Like, he was so weird to her. Like, whenever she would try to talk to him, he would be like kind of, I guess, like standoffish, and you could tell that he just really wanted to get away from her like every time she tried. And she said that she hasn't been able to receive any emails from him because he's been saying, I've been sending you so many emails, I'm waiting for you to reply, and she's like, you haven't sent me anything. How do you forget this new employee is coming? How do you forget to get all of her like onboarding information before she gets there? Like, I think that's so weird. And literally a couple of pages later, it turns out he was doing everything right, but it was somebody else that made the mistake. Thank goodness, because I was like, this is not a good first impression of this book, especially when I really want to get into Ali Hazelwood. So I'm really happy that that took a really quick turn. He hasn't completely won me over yet, so I really hope that in these next couple of pages that I read, and by the time I do this next update, I'm like gushing over him, saying he's great. I really hope that I do. I already have a theory about something that's going to happen in this book, so far. B has been talking to someone, I think on Twitter. I think it's the male lead. They don't know each other's identities on purpose, like they don't want to know for some reason, but I think something's gonna come up. I don't know, maybe she'll walk in on him like sending her a message, or I don't know, like maybe they'll both say something and realize they're in a similar situation or something like that. That's my theory, and I feel like that's when the romance is going to start. Now I am going to keep reading this. Okay, so I just finished Love on the Brain, and I really love Levi. I think he's one of my new favorite male leads. He really won me over, which is so surprising because I really did not think I would like him that much. And my theory was right. They were talking to each other on Twitter. When they both found out, I definitely will say it was like kind of awkward, especially because they like confided in each other for so long about each other. I honestly expected a little more anger. They were like talking trash to each other, like just complaining about how much they disliked working with each other. But when they initially found out, I feel like it just kind of blew over super fast. Like there was like a couple of pages where things were a little bit awkward and then they just got over it. So I kind of wish that dragged on a little bit because I feel like that drama was really interesting and I was looking forward to it like the entire time that I was reading this book. And I think my all-time favorite part of this book will definitely be the fact that along with the two of them figuring out that they've been messaging each other on Twitter, her company finds out that she is running this really popular Twitter account where she rags on the unfairness of STEM and the way that they treat their women employees and just women in STEM in general. And I was really shocked by the fact that she actually got terminated from her contract. So it is now a little bit later in the evening. I think it's around like 5:30. So I am going to check back in with you guys tomorrow when I start Shadow Wars. Okay, so it is officially time for an update because I just finished the next two books. And first I want to start with Shadow Wars because I completely underestimated how much fun I would have reading this book. I found that I did not want to put it down, and I was actually surprised when I got to the last page because I just wanted there to be more to the story. So immediately within the first 3 pages of this book, you are thrown into so much action and detailed world building, and it was so much fun. A woman in Japan named Kiko is in charge of hiding a boy from his father, and this boy's name is Ryuichi, and he needs to be hidden from his father because he is a powerful demon. And I loved how everything was prophesized in the beginning pretty much about what would happen as far as him needing to be hidden in order to learn how to to fight so that he could one day defeat his father. But I do wish that this prophecy was a little more vague, because that literally is what this entire story is. I feel like it being revealed within like the first 3-ish pages was kind of a spoiler and like really unnecessary. I feel like this should have been revealed at least by page 50. One thing I really liked about this story is the fact that he ended up starting to show that he had powers by the age of 11, and so he had to be taken to a special academy for other kids like him. So I liked that there were like fighting sequences, and then after I read that, I couldn't resist. I had to pick up The Woods Are Always Watching. This one I was surprised about, but for a completely different reason. So this book follows two best friends named Nina and Josie, and they have been best friends for years, but now they are going off to two completely different colleges across the US, and so they decide to do one final camping trip to commemorate their friendship and just to create more memories and try to stay close. But one thing that surprised me about their friendship is that they're not really the nicest to each other, specifically Nina. She can be pretty bossy and mean to Josie during this trip. They, for some reason, made it a solo trip. I don't think that was a smart thing to do, because they didn't have any camping experience, and yet they're going off to this remote location in the woods with no one to guide them and help them. So while they are trying to find their way back onto the trail, Josie actually ends up slipping into a hidden ditch, and she ends up, I believe, breaking her leg or hurting her ankle, and this is where everything goes left. So when Nina goes to get help, they both actually end up stumbling across two men. Of course, they think they're going to help them, but they end up being really, really creepy. The only thing that I would change about this book is just making these men come a little earlier in the story. Like, this book was really short, but I feel like it took a minute for the plot to really get going. They spent a lot of time just traveling in the woods, and now it is finally time to read the Ferryman trilogy, which is going to be the last 3 books for this reading vlog. I think I mentioned before at the beginning of this vlog that these books have been on my TBR for a while. I've been waiting for the perfect opportunity to read them, and I'm so excited that it is finally time. So I am going to jump right into this book, and I will check in with you guys soon. Okay guys, so it is officially time to give you my final update, because I have officially finished the Ferryman trilogy, which means I have completed my end of the year TBR. So this story is about main character Dylan, and she decides to skip school one day to meet her dad for the very first time. She decides to buy a train ticket. It actually ends up being the worst mistake that she's ever made, because the train ends up crashing and killing everyone, including Dylan. Dylan wakes up and realizes that she is kind of in a land between life and death, and this is where the character Tristan gets introduced. Tristan is a ferryman, and his job is to transport souls to the afterlife, and when he meets Dylan, his mission ultimately changes. While Dylan is trying to get back home, Tristan ends up wanting to go home with her. I was really interested in this plot because it is mentioned that ferrymen have never done this before. They usually just transport souls for eternity and that's it. In the other books, Tristan ends up going to the real world with Dylan and ultimately is not ferryman anymore, and I kind of liked when he was. It just was very weird, the fact that these two are just infatuated with each other to the point where there are times in the series where they feel like they can't be too far apart from each other or else they will start to physically feel pain. And I didn't really like this aspect of the story because I feel like it took away a lot of Dylan's independence. I definitely will say that I liked this book the most in the series. I think the only thing I liked about books 2 and 3 is that it dives more into the world building of this other world afterlife, but I still feel like there was something missing with the other two where I didn't really connect with them as much as the first one. So this has been my end of the year TBR reading vlog. I don't usually read this many books in a single video, so I was really excited to challenge myself and it was definitely worth it. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you have read any of these books in this video, then please let me know because I love talking to you guys, and please stay tuned for my videos that I have planned for next year. So with that, this has been Kiara's Bookshelf. Bye!